Hello, and welcome to today's special live stream where we explore what's next for TON and Mantle after a breakout 2024. I'm your host, Shadi, and we've got a packed session ahead with key insights, bold prediction, and of course, red packet giveaways. So, in the comment section, tell us where you're watching from and say hello in your own language. Anyway, without further ado, here's what's on the agenda today. We've got a 2024 in review, the biggest milestones from TON and Mantle, and how they shaped the Web3 adoption. What's next in 2025? New narratives, major updates, and the next wave of innovations. Then we're going to talk about the TON Accelerator, the top projects from the inaugural cohort and why they stand out. And then where the biggest opportunities lie for builders and investors alike. And without further ado, we're going to introduce our amazing panel. Joining me today are some of the key builders and investors driving the TON and Mantle ecosystems forward. We have Elena, ecosystem lead at TON Foundation, Inal Kardan, partner at TON Ventures, Zuki, head of growth at FBTC, and we got GZ from our very own Mantle, Sophia, head acceleration at TON Accelerator, and Samuel Abid, head of DeFi at TON Accelerator. Just before I get the speakers to introduce themselves, I just wanted to let you know that we have an amazing giveaway for you today. Our first round of red packets, you will see the counter on the bottom of your screen. We've got 10 USDT trading bonuses, and here's how you can grab yours. All users have to trade at least 100 USDT within 7 days to claim the bonus. So keep an eye on the red packets through the stream. Without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce our speakers. Maybe we can start with the TON accelerator. Let's go with Elenka.
Yeah, sure. Hey, everyone. Very nice to be here today, this lovely morning. My name is Elenka. I'm an ecosystem lead at TON Foundation, basically overseeing different support and incentive programs for amazing builders and teams inside the TON ecosystem.
Okay, perfect. Let's go with Sophia next.
Hi, everyone. Great to meet you today. Yeah, lovely morning. I'm Sophia. I'm the head of acceleration and the TON Accelerator. And yeah, happy to see everyone. Nice
Great.
to chat you today.
Perfect. And Sammy?
Hey guys, nice to meet you. I'm Sammy. I lead DeFi at the TON Accelerator, where we work very closely with the TON Foundation to ensure that the execution chops on the project side are there. So happy to be here.
Okay, perfect. And we've got Inal.
Yeah, hello everyone. Good morning. I'm Inal, partner at TON Ventures. We TON Ventures, we invest in projects in the TON ecosystem. One of the main VC in the TON ecosystem, I would say. So yeah, and also former GameFi lead of TON Foundation. So probably we're gonna talk about games a lot today. So yeah, we'd love to talk about it. Still, I'm not GameFi lead anymore, but yeah, still love to talk about it.
Okay, perfect. And GZ.
Hey, how's it going? GZ here. I lead gaming at Mantle. I come from a background of just publishing games and working on games like League of Legends, Teamfight Tactics, Ragnarok, and Catizen. And now I just use that experience to help support games that are building on Mantle.
Okay, perfect. And Zuki. Zuki, unmute your mic, please.
Yes.
Okay,
hi, everyone. Good to see everyone here. This is Zuki, leading growth of FBTC. For those of you who don't know the relationship between FBTC and Mantle, Mantle is actually renovating or starting a new narrative since 2025. It's trying to build a on-chain, next level on-chain banking or on-chain finance. And FBTC is one of the initiatives of Mantle. And we are backed by Mantle and also Antalpha and some of the other big institutions, especially in Bitcoin world, and happy to be here.
Okay, fantastic. So let's kind of jump right into the discussion. So 2024 was a massive year for both TON and Mantle. Let's take a look back at some of the biggest moments. Let's start with Elena from the TON Foundation. TON and Telegram's ecosystem exploded in 2024. What were some of the biggest milestones and ecosystem growth highlights?
Well, a lot of things, to be honest. It's really hard to, just determine the most important ones. Or maybe it's not so hard because everyone, I think, has heard about Notcoin and other tap-to-earn games, right? That really managed to onboard a lot of users into crypto. And after the Notcoin launch, we saw a wave of these super simple and very cool and very fascinating apps where people needed to perform very, very simple actions. They needed to do it with friends, like in communities. There was a competition between them. And so we kind of, as an ecosystem, we figured out some secret sauce for an app that can potentially go viral. But we all understand, of course, that those are very simple onboarding apps, and the model itself is not really sustainable. But that was kind of something evident from the very beginning. And then, like, other types of apps and games started to appear, and we are on this very difficult but very exciting path to figure out what other types of games and social apps can become both viral and build like network effects, essentially, right? So Notcoin and the tap-to-earn trend was probably one. The second one was definitely the launch of native USDT on TON and our strategic partnership with Tether. It was quite a success, I would say, like from different perspectives in terms of the TVL of the chain. It grew significantly, also thanks to the farming program that we did on our DEXs, TDUST and StoneFi. And then TON became the number one chain for the pace of issuance of USDT across all those blockchains with which Tether cooperates, which is also a really important record for us. And then what else? I think we finally managed to properly build DeFi basics, DeFi fundamentals during 2024, because at the beginning of the year, it was only about like 10 DeFi protocols in DeFi Llama on the TON chain, and then now we have more than 40 or even 50. Of course, some of them still small and still starting out, but it's a sign of anyway going forward and growth. So we got new products, we got CLMMs, we got stable swaps, we got new lending protocols, and all those great teams are now actively fundraising and building more DeFi bricks to kind of grow our Lego. And then, I mean, I can talk about it for ages. There were a lot of milestones achieved. Also, like the growth of ecosystem projects as such in general. We conducted 2 large hackathons with more than 1,000 applications each, and essentially got more than 60 good teams that are still developing in the ecosystem as a result of this hackathon. Then, of course, the guys will talk about the first cohort of the accelerator, which I personally believe was a great success and a very tailored and approach where really the best projects were cherry-picked. Yeah, and then I think the Open League would be the last thing I'd like to mention. It was the first large-scale incentive program that we did in 2024. We managed to engage a lot of teams, and we now have a lot of lessons learned, from that experience, which is a very good and effective foundation for launching any kind of incentive program in the future. So 2024 was all about growth, and a lot of people, I think, learned about TON in general. So now our mission, our goal is to kind of sustain this growth and bring new narratives and new types of products and new strategy.
Okay, perfect. Good to hear. And I guess this is for TON Ventures, but from an investment perspective, how did 2024 pan out? Were there any standout projects that delivered exceptional performance?
Yeah, 100%. There were actually many teams performing really well, especially if we speak about gaming vertical, obviously. For example, we at TON Ventures, we are investors in a team called Pluto, which actually developed, for example, a game called Catizen, which was like a huge success. There are other teams also developing like really cool games. They still, I would say, there are still many games and game studios running a lot in the TON and Telegram ecosystems, which is quite nice from the VC perspective, have to say, and also like doing huge airdrops. But in 2024, it was like even like bigger. So main, I would say, main source of not revenue, but like main source of good investments from in 2024 was from GameFi, obviously. But also DeFi, again, DeFi was growing really fast. For example, again, speaking about us of TON Ventures, we invested in several teams which grew like at least 10 times in the last year. Like, for example, EVA, the biggest lending protocol on TON, or Storm Trade perpetuals on TON as well. Yeah, so in 2024, 2024 was good for both main verticals of Web3, in my opinion, which is GameFi and DeFi. And there are really cool teams in 2025 that are really cool new teams. So, and for example, in the first cohort of TON Accelerate, we invested in a couple teams building like DeFi related stuff or Telegram focused applications, let's call it so. I mean, leveraging Telegram as distribution channel. And we believe that they have even maybe higher potential than GameFi in 2024. So yeah, 2024 was really good for any VC in the TON ecosystem, to be honest, not only for us, because growth was like tremendous. But in 2025, we believe there are many things to discover from development perspective. I mean, many things to experiment with, and there's like even higher potential in again both main verticals and other types of new apps and I would say new experiments.
Perfect. Amazing to hear. And so at the moment, the first TON Accelerator cohort just wrapped up, as Alenka had mentioned before. What were the biggest highlights and surprises from the program?
I could pick this up. Or Sammy, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. So I think that generally, like TON exhibited like a lot of growth, right? So our goal was to ensure that the projects with the most potential have the execution chops on their end, right? So we come from a long background of incubation and venture, and our product builders ourselves who have fundraised, built products, some of which were like very successful, some of which have hit bottlenecks, right? So we know all of these issues that builders go through. So it really helps us educate and co-execute with these teams together. Specifically in the DeFi track and the AI track, I think we had a lot of standouts that we were working with TON Ventures on. You know, Nal was mentioning like effectively existing as a VC in the TON ecosystem over the past year has been very fruitful, and we were able to put our 2 cents in it by actually co-building with the projects. And it's always great to be side by side with people that are substantially more intelligent than you in specific verticals, where you're broadly based and broadly covered on product building and venture. And you have these experts that you're just helping them tailor their products within the TON ecosystem for the users that you might not be necessarily acquainted with yet, right? Because it's such a foreign ecosystem for a lot of Western builders, but the sort of growth parameters are obvious, right? Like the growth is in the numbers. And I don't think there's anything really stopping Telegram users migrating on chain and participating in some of the projects that we have built.
Okay, fantastic to hear. And let's kind of jump into Mantle. Mantle had an amazingly strong year. What were some of the biggest achievements in 2024, and how has the ecosystem grown?
I can talk a little bit about that. I mean, last year, very similar. It was all about growing for the Mantle ecosystem. While today I think is still the MNT is still the largest token or largest L2 ecosystem token by market cap. We are still actually a relatively young chain. I believe our mainnet only launched about just over a year ago. And so over the last year was much about building the infrastructure, building the core kind of fundamental projects, and building, a proper ecosystem where projects can thrive. Had some pretty great breakthroughs in the DeFi space. Merchant Mo, DEXs like Merchant Mo have really popped off and became some of the and like Init and Vertex have became some of the most I guess highest volume or like most used dexes in kind of the space right now. And then on the GameFi side, very similar to I guess the TON team. We had a couple of really big breakout projects, and Pluto definitely was one of them as well. We started working that team early 2023. Had a lot of insights into, or we're able to get a lot of kind of insights working with that team, learning a lot about how the games ecosystem is being designed or being run in. We were so very excited to hear TON, willing to get involved as well, and we are having a very good time working together with the TON team to be able to get such a great project like Catizen out, and really looking forward to doing some more together down the road. And then Meth and BTC are two. Oh man, those are two. I think Zuki can talk a little bit more about, but definitely some more exciting things are happening on our space too.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Is there anything else that we need to look back on? Oh, yeah, Zuki, maybe you can let us know a little bit more.
Yeah. So in terms of asset side of Mantle, MEs, which is the third largest Ethereum LSD right now in the market, got started last year and reached over 1.5 billion in TVL. FBTC, the one-to-one packed Bitcoin asset, also got started last year, and we already achieved 1.4 billion in total TVL. And also, Mantle right now is more than a chain or a network. It is actually a big financial ecosystem with very reliable, trusted asset, and also very good infrastructure like Mantle network. Both MEs and FBTC plans to go multi-chain. So TON would be one of our very key partners, and that's why I think I'm here. We plan to work with TGBDC on TON and hopefully to bootstrap or bring the Bitcoin Fi on TON and Mantle to the next level.
Okay, amazing. Sophia, anything else that we need to look back on from your end?
I'm good. Yeah. I think like Sam is pretty great. We wrap up the whole cohort stuff. The first one. Yeah, we can just move forward. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. So now that we've kind of looked back, let's talk about like kind of what's next. TON and Mantle both had major breakthroughs in 2024. So how do you build on that kind of momentum? Maybe Sophia, we can start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think like these general thesis that we put up in this sort of partnership, right, where we could bridge the tons of EVM liquidity to TON and build the different use cases on top of that together, such as payments, a lot of opportunity I've seen here, and different various DeFi stuff that also might be quite bootstrapping the TON ecosystem, and at the same time effects on the Mantle as well. I would say AI agents and everything related to AI, it's quite interesting. And maybe Sammy also have several sort of like ideas and use cases that might be interesting to build as well.
Yeah, sure. I think there's a lot coming, right? Because the distribution of Telegram has not necessarily been activated yet, right? Like we've only seen small percentage points of the active users within Telegram actually interact with mini apps and on-chain anything really. So both obviously like the gaming environment will keep growing, but with changes, right? Because we've had a lot of the very simple to use games, tapper games that have exponentially grown, but have hit some sort of a plateau at this point, right? So there needs to be some evolution in the actual strategy that the game developers have. Likely that strategy is to go higher fidelity and create longer lasting games with less on-chain elements that maybe deal with in-game sort of token exchanges, sort of tokenizing the in-game assets and focusing on that, right? So there'll be a lot of changes in how that growth is exhibited in the future, but the fact that the growth is going to be there is pretty obvious to us, considering just a massively untapped market in Telegram.
Okay, perfect. And the question I had for kind of like you guys after like the Telegram app boom, what's next? Is the Telegram game trend over, or do you see it evolving? Maybe Alenka, you can shed some light on this.
Yeah, I mean, no, of course, like we do not plan to stop at all. It's only the beginning. And as I was already saying, and I mean, I can't help highlighting that we should view the tap to earn trend as only the onboarding phase, right? Where like a lot of people heard about Web3 and particularly TON, and now it's our job and the job of our teams in the ecosystem to kind of bring more sustainable and more valuable use cases in the form of Telegram mini apps, of course. And I'm actually also very excited about this collab between TON Accelerator and Mantle, because I believe this is something new. Like we never did it in the ecosystem, right? And it's like a completely new narrative. And let's see what kind of teams and what kind of products we can get out of it. But for us, the general focus is on supporting new types of apps. For example, if we want to talk about games, and of course Nal can shed more light here, but like we discussed it just last week, that we should focus on more sustainable cases like mid-core games, social games, probably something at the intersection of GameFi and DeFi. Well, in our statement here is that it hasn't worked yet, but I'm still a true believer in kind of the intersection of these two verticals, because ultimately we need to find more simple ways to bring people to DeFi, and games is potentially one of them. We do have a couple of cases of this type already on TON, like Cat TON, for example, and Upton, if I'm not mistaken. But so like people are experimenting, which is great, and I'm pretty sure that we're like once again we'll see a good game with DeFi elements very soon. Apart from that, obviously social games where people would be engaged with their friends, with their communities, everything that surrounds like QLs, very basic social stuff, because Telegram is all about communication, and we need to somehow utilize its social graph. Apart from that, I would say what we've seen during the last month is the new meta, the new narrative of Telegram gifts and Telegram stickers, right? So starting with being a very basic off-chain asset that people started to explore, to send to each other, to buy for Telegram stars, and then its conversion into NFTs has shown us that this is something very exciting, actually, right? Because it comes from Telegram, especially Telegram gifts, not stickers yet. So this is like an official, let's say, first off-chain product by Telegram, but then you can convert it into an on-chain asset and play with that, and find some utility for it. For example, there are already first games like Duckygram on TON that have already found utility for Telegram gifts. So you just connect your wallet inside the game and you get some more points, some more benefits being an active player of this game. So I think we should definitely focus on that and like catch those trends, right? So if Telegram plans to launch something new, judging from their perspective and utilizing the basic functionality of the messenger itself, which gives us like more scale and more opportunities, we would definitely do our best to kind of support it from the on-chain, from the Web3 side. So, I mean, looking forward to the new meta, let's say, after gifts, but like the gifts meta is obviously not over yet. It's just started. So I'm pretty sure like a completely new ecosystem will pop up around this new narrative. Apart from that, as I was saying, like for DeFi, we managed to bring some basic things, like some basic protocols that now lay this foundation. But now we need to first strengthen them to battle test them, right? Because, like for example, new assets will be coming, like TGBTC, because a trustless bridge is now being built between Bitcoin and TON. So we expect to launch closer to the summer, and we will have like a couple of incentive programs around it. Apart from that, like new lending protocols are being launched, and we all understand the importance of lending protocols in DeFi in general. So we'll think of something in that regard as well. And then, all these new types of protocols, new pillars that will need to essentially like cooperate with each other, right? Because it's all about deep integrations and like a very unified DeFi ecosystem. So we'll definitely continue on that side, and we do have many plans, and I really hope that we'll release our official strategy very soon. So yeah, and then as Sophia mentioned, actually, we can't really help talk about AI these days, right? And why I'm particularly excited about this narrative on TON and on Telegram is first because it's not gonna go anywhere, right? So like we still don't know for how long, like I don't know, meme coins will stay. I mean, apparently for long as well, because it's kind of like already a very essential pillar of our culture. But you know, there are some very like short-term trends, and like people may be afraid of whether to go all in with these trends, like wasting time, and then if they just fade away, what to do. But I think AI is a very different case, and I think like it's very hard to argue that this is a long-term trend and this is our future. So it's also like for us to figure out how exactly we want to bring this narrative to TON, and we are already working hard on it, of course. So like some large news will be coming soon, I hope. So I mean, AI agents on Telegram is a super cool narrative, and we all know that like there are already a lot of Telegram bots that essentially serve as AI agents. We just need to empower them with Web3 functionality as well, and find all these new different use cases, because we've seen that, like for example, we see what type of agents work well on other ecosystems and like generally nowadays. But then once again, we want to do something exclusive and something unique, which would make us stand out from other ecosystems. So I would say like this separate pillars. Yeah, and then probably some more things will pop up, but this is my general thoughts.
I just want to
Hey,
add
now you
one
wanted to add something.
couple of things. Yeah, 100% agree with what Alinka just said about like mini apps. They I actually said it a couple of times already publicly, but like in my opinion, mini apps on Telegram, they're going through this like Gartner's hype cycle. In a way, it goes up, then it goes like down, but then you reach the plateau of productivity. And we are at the stage where we are actually going to this plateau of productivity, and there are many things to experiment with. And Alinka actually mentioned like a couple of those experiments with Telegram gifts or AI agents, for example, which definitely looks like very native to Telegram as a distribution channel. So yeah, I just want to say that probably we are not going to see the same, I don't know, size of audience for mini apps this year, but still they will have like millions of users, in my opinion. And yeah, last year, the biggest mini app, probably Hamster Combat, they had like 260, 270 million users. So 200 plus million users, which is like kind of insane for Web3, right? But still, I believe that this year we're going to have applications with tens of millions of users. So this looks a bit more, to be honest, even healthy than just like 200 million users in one application. And still, mini apps, they remain one of the main ways to onboard people to Web3, because this is like really easy. Instead of like installing apps, you just like click one button and you have a Web3 application. Sometimes fun, sometimes engaging, sometimes not very much, but still. So yeah, just wanted to say that this year probably we're not going to see that huge apps as Hamster Combat, but I expect even like more experiments, not only tap to earn, but like more experiments and more. We see a very, very interesting time in the TON ecosystem now. Playbooks which worked last year, they do not work anymore, to be honest. So now it's a great time to experiment. So if you're a founder, now is the right time to build something on TON with like new narratives and new ideas and the same distribution channel, which is Telegram.
Perfect. GZ, you said you wanted to add something also?
Yeah, was gonna talk about. I mean, the idea of like ecosystem, or where I think that the Telegram games and mini apps ecosystem is kind of growing towards. First of all, the ceiling is quite endless, and I probably use an analogy that has been done quite a lot before. Is like with the WeChat games, mini apps ecosystem. I've been working on the WeChat in WeChat mini apps since like 2017, and the way that the WeChat mini games ecosystem evolved was it started with a lot of very casual, easy to onboard type experiences like tap games, idle games, and very, very easy mechanics. And eventually, as users were onboarded into the ecosystem and were comfortable using these mini apps, then they became more in depth and more kind of drew players and drew users in to do like more complex actions. So we had, started seeing card games, gacha games. You started seeing utility apps like, Ubers and such all in the WeChat like mini apps ecosystem, and eventually grew even into like the finance sector and such. And as of today, basically of the like 1.2 billion users of WeChat, close to about 60% of them are active in using mini apps on WeChat. And with a like amazing and huge ecosystem that Telegram has, this is the kind of way that users are evolving and kind of working through this kind of mini app ecosystem is very resemblant of how WeChat mini apps began. And so I can totally see, of the like almost 1 billion users of Telegram, eventually we're going to see like 500, 600 million of those users actually actively participating in all these different mini apps on Telegram. And then TON, being such a close partner of the Telegram team, obviously will always have the best experience when it comes to bringing users on board into the Telegram users onto the Web3 ecosystem and providing them with the right on-ramps, providing them with the right infrastructure and such. So very, very bullish and excited to see the kind of Web3 element of Telegram games being built on TON, and then Mantle as one of the better partners and I guess favorite partners of the Telegram and TON ecosystems. We do provide an outlet to the EVM ecosystem and provide these users, once they're on chain and once they're active and comfortable being Web3, part of this kind of Web3 ecosystem, to give them access to a broader ecosystem as well in terms of the EVM side, in terms of protocols like FBTC or METH, where they can do more, I guess, access more complex and more kind of deeper kind of actions as well. So very excited to kind of see where this Telegram ecosystem continues, but I have very, very high expectations for it.
Okay, perfect. Good to hear. So just to stay on like Mantle, what's Mantle's strategy for EVM liquidity in 2025? And how will this like kind of rejuvenate the Ethereum story?
Zuki, would you like to go with this one or?
Yes, I'm not sure if I understand that question right. So, as I said, Mantle is no longer a Ethereum layer 2. We are really doing initiating a lot of new business line, such as MEs, the Ethereum LST asset, and FBTC, the Bitcoin wrapped asset on multi-chain. We're also initiating index fund, where for both traditional finance and on-chain finance holders and investors to participate in new ways onto on-chain assets. And we are keep building Mantle network, but we are doing it in a more embracing way for the all on-chain ecosystem. So in terms of the EVM liquidity, I think Bitcoin is definitely one of the very exciting theme in the coming year, because we all know most of the liquidity of Bitcoin are still sitting in idle in the Bitcoin network, and for Bitcoin users, they cannot get any native yield from Bitcoin, and it's a very limited source for them to get founding arbitrage, or even lending yield from the Bitcoin that's sitting on their hands. So it's very interesting to bring those idle Bitcoin liquidity, which consists of over 50% of the total crypto market cap, to the on-chain world. So if that liquidity can be brought out of the Bitcoin chain, and it can be even multiplied, or even there's many derivatives asset coming out of the native Bitcoin, then it will be a huge incremental value to the on-chain world, and it can be used into DEXs, into lending, into all the kind of different innovative use source that we can build on the EVM chain and basically all the blockchain ecosystem. So that's one interesting thing, that we see, and we're also trying to contribute to it. And of course, like payment, etc., is like social is very important when it comes to how liquidity will be spread and used across the on-chain ecosystem. And we do see both TON and Mantle has a very, very big competitive edge in this field sector.
Perfect. Good to hear. So let's kind of move on to the TON Accelerator outlook. So the TON Accelerator has produced some incredible projects. So let's talk about what's next for the program. What are the biggest emerging verticals in the TON ecosystem, and what should builders focus on? Maybe Sophia, do you want to take this?
Yeah, it's actually I can take this.
Oh, Sammy. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, in terms of some of the verticals that we've been looking at, so I think we've covered sort of the gaming side quite well today. Like I think there's a lot of thoughts shared there. What wasn't really covered much was like the payments and the savings products of the space, right? Like really enabling easy to access on-chain savings products that are really sort of non-complex comparing to your traditional DeFi and Ethereum. Something that's one click abstracted, and something just gives you access to yield, and then serves as a gateway to try out more sophisticated products through education, and not just sort of dive into the pool without knowing how to swim, right? So savings products are one of the primary focuses. Then on the payments end, equally as important, the Telegram identification system generally offers a unparalleled way of being able to just send assets to your friends and your families, or even pay invoices simply by knowing someone's Telegram ID and not needing to actually input the phrase of the wallet. Like it really complicates things, right? So when you have just a simple Telegram ID, send any assets to anyone, it's a substantial unlock, right? Especially when for example, in Africa, users are still using their cellular phone balance as a means to send over assets to their friends, pay certain bills, right? Like it seems like it's a very clear unlock to be able to use a messaging platform for that they already onboarded into. It just we've yet to activate them to a degree of our liking, right? Which is a focus point for us for next year, for this year. Then a lot of the Telegram native features, right? I think Ilona talked a bit about stickers, right? And like how that can actually lead to a revival of NFTs, right? Because NFTs had like a massive on-ramp in 2021. The distribution and the traffic driven to these assets was massive, right? But it has substantially died down because of price speculation and a lot of interest in this specific vertical dropping down. But when you have a traffic sort of guzzler, right, like Telegram, and the ability to distribute these sort of on-chain graphical elements to anyone you'd like within your Telegram list, it really makes it substantially easier to share and find utility in it, right? So another, I would say, native feature to Telegram is obviously chatting, right? So all of the group chats currently are exhibiting various functionalities like token gating those group chats, right? Creating different barriers to or payment schedules to enter certain chats, right? So monetizing content creators, monetizing traders, right? Like where traders are creating alpha groups to be able to invite traders into their community and be able to monetize their ability to trade well, right? And then obviously AI, right? Like we've talked about it a bit, but I think the amount of data that users generally hold and are oblivious to the value of the data they hold just in their camera roll or in their simple natural language conversations. It's something that AI models are just lacking these days, right? The whole internet has been scraped. The alpha really is a net new data that isn't publicly available. So one of our projects that we'll talk about in a bit is actually focusing on that, right? Taking off-chain data or inaccessible, non-public data and giving users the ability to monetize it.
Okay, good. Great to hear. I guess we can kind of move on to like for anyone who's looking to join the next cohort, what qualities do you look for in winning projects?
I could pick up this one. So basically, I think the most important thing is I think it's, of course, it's a team. Of course, generally speaking, it's the time to market, like this momentum and the timing of execution such a product, right? So we just like we talk a lot with the different founders, and I think the team's background is super important. And generally speaking, the incentive, of course. So generally, how the project will be able to build their like sort of go-to-market strategy and distribute it to various of incentives as well. So I think team is super important. The narratives that Sammy spoke about, like it's and understanding the market of, I mean, the Telegram design space and generally like how the Telegram social graph generally works. It's super important, and how you plan to retain these users and what kind of incentive you will provide for those such users that you target to. So of course, it's the any of those use cases that Sammy mentioned, we are highly targeted to. And I think, yeah, so team, product, and the understanding of the Telegram social graph, it's pretty crucial. Any other of that thing we could might be a hands-on and could help with, but generally speaking, the understanding of the market and the team, the founders, is super important.
Okay, perfect. So with all these kind of exciting developments, I can kind of jump into the investment. Where is the real opportunity? And Anal, you probably be the perfect person to ask first. Where are you investing in 2025, and what areas excite you the most?
Well, we pretty much covered almost every vertical that we actually invest in. I mean, we are vertical agnostic. Our investment thesis is that we invest in anything which can be interesting and can be big on TON and Telegram. Definitely DeFi this year is really interesting for us. Definitely anything related to payments is interesting for us. Definitely GameFi is still interesting for us. I would say more in the form of game studios rather than just particular games, because we believe there are like many things to experiment with on Telegram about games. Again, like this is a no-brainer if you're an investor to invest in first games, because again, games on every social media, they become quite big. And Telegram, as of now, is the only social platform where Web3 is like kind of native, right? So gaming is like a no-brainer. DeFi is a no-brainer as well, because there are many things to do around DeFi on TON. PayFi also, because again, there's a wallet which is like easily accessible in many countries. One of the easiest ways to onboard people to a non-custodial wallet, I believe now, is Telegram wallet. This is like obvious stuff, but there are non-obvious things that you can build on Telegram. And we believe that there are anything specific to Telegram features is very interesting for us from the investment perspective. For example, Alinka again mentioned Telegram gifts, and for Telegram gifts, there's like a one project built, as far as I know, by one developer actually, which is like a non-official marketplace for NFT gifts. And in less than a month, that marketplace had about like 800,000 TON, I believe, which is about like I don't know, $3.5 million of volumes, which is, in my opinion, again, it's a product built by one person in like a couple of weeks, and in less than a month generates like quite good volumes for such an app. And these type of experiments on Telegram is very interesting for us. Or again, like there are, Sami also mentioned a project like trying to collect data on Telegram, let's call it so. So this is like very interesting for us as well. So again, in general, if you build gaming in general on Telegram, DeFi, things related to payments or things specific to Telegram, this is really interesting for us. Speaking about specific things to Telegram, also like there are things on Telegram, like for example, boosts by users for channels. And many people do not know about this, that channels to publish stories, they need boosts from users. And you can easily tokenize that. You can create a marketplace around it. This is can be really interesting for any VC because it's a whole new market. And there are almost no competitors. Obviously, there's a risk that market can be small, but still no competitors. So why not experiment with it? Or Telegram stars. We know some numbers about Telegram stars. For example, even if we look at public data about Telegram stars, tens of millions of dollars were earned by mini app developers in form of stars. They redeem it through TON, but just imagine building a product based on stars. Utilizing stars inside Telegram. And you already have developers with the tens of millions of dollars in the form of stars on their hands, and they could use it in your product. So in general, if you use something specific for Telegram, this is really, really interesting because there's almost no competition. It's completely new market, and you can be the first one here. So yeah, that's our view on 2025 as of now.
Perfect. I'd like the Mantle team also to jump in on this kind of discussion. Well, what are you looking at in 2025 in terms of investments and projects?
Yeah, for the most part, we do have kind of Mantle Eco Fund side where it does invest in several of the projects. It's also an investor behind the projects that will be joining the TON Mantle Accelerator program as well. And so I think one of the big ones is looking for sustainability at this point, meaning it's not just about being able to get a bunch of sell a token or get users to buy in on some random asset. It's generating value for using blockchain technology in a sensible way that actually creates value for the project in the long term. And this means once they actually generate value, then there's something for users to pay for, and there's actual revenue being generated, which means there's sustainability beyond it. For example, with in the gaming vertical, one of these projects that we're working with is using a AUSD Agora USD to be kind of the backing of their of the kind of prize pool and the circulation economy of their game, so that whenever users make purchases inside the game or spend inside the game, these assets get tied up into Agora USD. And one of the good things about AUSD is that they actually provide a lot of the yields they generate back to the protocols rather than kind of keeping it themselves as revenue. So through this kind of stablecoin implementation, this team is actually able to generate an additional source of revenue using blockchain technology. It's actually a implementation that makes blockchain technology more it's a sensible implementation. It generates more revenue. It's actually helpful to the commercial and the business side of this project. And so this is a team that we're very happy to be involved with. Another one is something like L3-7, which is a location-based game, and basically giving the game is already about having players running around the world and owning the Eiffel Tower, or getting a sense of ownership of the Great Wall of China, these massive landmarks. But then providing that additional sense of ownership by using blockchain technology, making this even more immutable and interoperable. These things actually add value to this core concept of the game, which is why we also really like projects like that. So I think just the sensible integration of blockchain technology and businesses that are trying to drive real value through their implementation of blockchain technology is what we've been looking for over the past little while.
Amazing. And I'd like to open the panel up for everyone. So what's one of the major Web3 trends in 2025 that investors should absolutely not ignore? Whoever wants to take the panel first.
Good question. I'll start if you don't mind. If we speak about 2025, obviously you cannot ignore anything related to AI. I can actually say my personal opinion here is that everyone speaks about AI agents and this diff AI. I don't know how to pronounce it, this whole narrative. But to be honest, at the same time, I know literally 0 people using AI agents like zero on a daily basis. I mean, and this is there is kind of gap. I mean, everyone understands this like opportunity, but there are no products, like no actual products to use in your daily life. And in my opinion, this is like a very good opportunity for all the investors to find these teams who can actually build first good AI agents that people will use. So you cannot skip this narrative. You cannot skip this like whole idea of AI agents definitely in 2025. Also, my opinion is that meme coins showed us that many people are fine playing these like pure financial PvP games. So they understand that this is just like financial PvP and they play these games. Cool. And if there are teams experimenting with this, like building not pump.fun, but things like pump.fun, where everyone agrees that this is just like pure financial PvP. I don't want to call it a gambling. It's not gambling. It's pure financial PvP because there is no casino here. They're just like people playing against each other. And my personal opinion is that if you're an investor and if you see teams experimenting with this kind of stuff, like again, pure PvP platforms for launching PvP games. I mean, people launch games against each other, which is, again, I'm not saying that I'm a big fan of it on a personal level, but on an investment level, this is definitely cool because, again, many people in crypto, they're okay playing this. So yeah, my personal take is that AI and teams who can actually build first AI agents making sense, not too simple, but like AI agents making sense. And next, teams building like infrastructure for these like financial PvP games.
I can
Cool.
add a word or two.
Yeah, go
Sam,
for it.
you're-
Yeah, just piggybacking off what Anal was saying, right? So like with AI agents, like the primary input, right? Like the inventory is data, right? So like it all really depends on the data input, and it dictates the output of the quality of the output, right? So when you're looking at like sort of assistance to on-chain activity, right? Like if the agent doesn't have data from that said blockchain, there is zero ways in which it can be helpful, right? Because it doesn't have current data that is streamed from, let's say, the blocks or have the sort of information to make your life substantially easier in education, right? Because you anyways cannot rely on the agent if it doesn't have that data. So projects that focus on streaming blockchain and non-blockchain data and are commercializing it and are sourcing it from users in a permissioned way, right? Like it's something where the user is substantially receiving upside from their inventory, from their assets, is something that I think is a massive opportunity because it's substantially more difficult to invest in AI projects, and it's substantially easier to invest in projects that are sourcing data because that data will be bought by all of the AI projects, and it's substantially easier to win, right, from an investment perspective. So those are just my 2 cents.
Mind if I kind of add in, or?
Go for it.
Okay. Yeah, I think one area that may not be discussed enough is ad tech. The advertising industry right now is a like multi-trillion-dollar industry. Ad networks are one of the most common and biggest revenue generators for all the kind of big tech companies like Google, Meta, TikTok. Anyone that has a lot of users and access to a lot of data, ad tech is basically where they end up going to monetize that data and monetize those users. And now one of the kind of biggest problems with the current ad tech industry is that all the data is being held by the biggest big conglomerates. They're the ones that actually decide whether or not these like who to show ads to and which projects, which users get to shown ads of which projects. And so their kind of focus has always been on monetization, meaning finding the largest conversion rates, not the best engagement. Meaning people started seeing, and especially developers, the only way they can control the quality of their users or the quality of the people they bring in through ad tech, or not quality, but control the amount of flow or the cost of the people they bring in through ads, is by creating fake ads or creating ads that are engaging rather than ads that are better targeted towards the users that they want. So that's why, you know, people on like YouTube, when you're watching YouTube videos and you see an ad for a game, it's almost always some fake gameplay that doesn't actually exist, because that's what the ad tech companies actually let shown to users, because that has higher engagement rate, higher monetization. So what kind of blockchain technology, I think one of the core reasons that I've been so bullish on kind of Web3 or blockchain technology is because it provides access to more data to users, to app developers. App developers can actually start analyzing, you know, different wallets and their history, behavior. They can analyze all this on-chain data to see and start targeting users themselves without having to go through one of these big conglomerates and rely on their data banks to tell them which users they want. This is going to require a lot of, like, first of all, a lot of data analytics, something that our traditional machine learning algorithms and stuff like that won't be able to handle. But now that it's become so efficient, well, basically with kind of the AI technology that's being evolved out there, I do think that the next big step in this industry will definitely involve changing how ads are being displayed and how ad tech is actually created moving forward. So that's in vertical that I've been very excited to see and looking a lot into in terms of how it's being built and builders in that space.
Yeah, I'll probably add my input as well. Yeah, very, very interesting what GZ just said. I would say another vertical I have a lot of faith in potentially is RWA and PayFi in general. Why? Because I think with the shift in power in the US, and probably, I mean, hopefully, the upcoming regulation of crypto and everything that's related to crypto, it will really help us understand how exactly to move forward in this vertical. And a lot has been built already during the recent years. We just haven't heard of it at large scale, but infra is ready, right? I mean, more or less. So I'm really excited about that, and we can't really turn a blind eye to payments, you know, cross-border payments, and then everything that we can build on top of that. So, for example, crypto cards or financing payment streams for like small and medium enterprises. This is something that excites me very much. And I really hope and will make sure it happens that TON will also join other ecosystems in that path and become the execution settlement layer for cross-border payments and all the applications that are being built in the PayFi vertical. But overall, really bullish on AI as well, like whatever form it will take, right? Whether we will shift from AI agents to something else, which I doubt very much. I just think that they will need to be much more advanced. And, you know, like I think everyone is already tired of conversational agents, and like no one is bullish on them anymore, because that was just a very simple, very basic thing that we started with. But then the intersection of AI and DeFi, and then whatever else you can think of, especially on Telegram, must be about social elements. So we will see. But I think, like, given that we have a lot of large Web2 players, you know, advancing in that niche as well, really excited to see how it's going to play out. Like, if we combine the forces and combine Web2 technology and blockchain, essentially.
Okay, perfect. Great. I think we can kind of move on to kind of the next session. We have some Q&As questions that came up from our users in the comments section. But first of all, I want to congratulate everyone for claiming all the red packets throughout our discussion. I wanted to kind of hype you up to do it, but we had like a really good discussion going on. But yeah, congratulations to everyone who claimed the red packets. So let's take some of the questions from the users. So the first question is from YoBytes. What tech upgrades are planned for TON to improve throughout and reduce fees as it scales? Does anyone want to take that question? Or
Yeah, I
should
don't think
repeat it?
I don't think any of us are. Oh, okay, go ahead and I'll crack
I
it.
just wanted to say that actually there is a roadmap published, I believe, by the TON core team recently, like a couple of weeks ago. There are like several things, including like several research things, several optimizations planned. Don't want to go too deep. I just want to say go to, I believe, TON core X account. I think it was published in the main TON account as well. On X, so there's like whole article about like what is planned. So there are many research stuff. There are many like things going to be implemented. Most of them are by the end of the year. But yeah, just want to reference to that because I believe nobody wants to talk too much about like technical stuff here.
Great. The next question was going to be about RWAs, but Alenka already went through that. Then there's another question: Web3 gaming on TON and Mantle in 2025. What's new for devs and players?
What's new, at least on TON, is everyone realized that these like hyper casual games, they do not. I mean, they work, but they're not very sustainable. So gaming teams, they actually have to find more sustainable models of not just launching a token, not just doing an airdrop, but essentially, in my opinion, sharing revenue that they get from games with their users or token holders. So what's new? More, let's call it sophisticated games, mid-core games, where session is longer, where people actually pay to play the game because they enjoy it. Because I mean, the overall reason to play, the main reason to play the game should be joy, right? Not just to earn something. So this is kind of new for most of the TON games, but we see more and more teams building that. And yeah, balancing economy based on revenue streams, like sustainable revenue streams, like for example, ads were mentioned. For example, ads or in-app purchases. This is like a new area for experiments on TON right now.
Okay, great. I think I'll take one more question. I think, how much VC funds are going into TON this year?
It depends on what do you mean with going into TON, and it is hard to measure. Hard to measure.
I mean, he said billion question mark.
I mean, there are, for example, there are at least two big venture VCs in the TON ecosystem right now. For TON Ventures, for example, we're 40 million fund. Recently, there was announced another TVM fund by ex-president of TON Foundation called TVM Ventures with like $100 million. So these two funds, they're purely focusing on TON. Like they're not going to invest in anything else. But the question is like, what's the time frame they're going to invest in all this money? So you cannot say, are they going to invest this year or are they going to invest next year, etc. And also, there are big investors in TON, like I don't know, Pantera, which announced investment in TON coin last year for like millions of dollars. So yeah, there are investors, VCs focusing solely on TON, with at least $140 million at this point announced publicly. There's also Top, the open platform. They also invest a lot in the TON ecosystem. So yeah, there are hundreds of millions of dollars, obviously, focusing only on TON, and there are external VCs invested in TON. So maybe overall we can, I don't know, estimate that for the next couple of years it's going to be, I don't know, billion or more pure VC funding.
So there, you got your answer. You said billion, it was billion. Perfect. Okay, guys, do you have any final words for our users before we leave them after this live stream?
I could say like,
okay, yes.
Yeah, no, you could say like, thanks everyone, thanks Bybit team, thanks TON Ventures and Mantle team for joining, and everyone who is watching this podcast. Thanks for everyone for joining today.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Really enjoyed this conversation. And yeah, if you have never tried, if you have never tried TON, or no, you're native to Mantle, try TON, and vice versa. If you have never tried Mantle, you're native to TON. Try Mantle products. So this is the goal, right? Just to cross-pollinate our communities, and because I believe we both try to make the whole Web3 ecosystem better.
Yeah, very, very true. Great. Well, thank you so much, guys. I guess that's a wrap. A huge thank you to our incredible guests from TON and Mantle. You guys have been fantastic. There's so much information for us to digest today. But yeah, like as Inel said, go check out TON, go check out Mantle. They have exciting updates coming soon. And make sure you're signed up to Bybit if you're not already signed up. And yeah, you can stay tuned to more exclusive streams and insights. Make sure to follow us all on social media. And we'll see you next time. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.